Hey everyone, Legend here, and greetings from the sweetest place on earth, Hersheypark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. In this video here, I'm going to take you on a full park walkthrough all around Hersheypark. Starting here, you can see the new Kisses fountain and the Candemonium roller coaster, and in the brand new Chocolate Town section of the park. This is something that's new for 2020, and it's a super duper expensive project. The park spent $150 million on Chocolate Town, complete with a wonderfully gorgeous new entrance, a giant shopping and dining area that's not quite done yet, but man, it is a very, very impressive, a huge change. I've been going to Hersheypark since I was a little kid back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it is a huge change from their little old village that didn't really accommodate crowds that well at all. Now over here on the left, you can see that is now how you exit Hersheypark is through a giant gift shop. Lots of good merchandise in there too. I ended up spending like $46 on merchandise in there. And straight ahead, I think that was the old Hershey Museum in that pillar building with the arena behind that. Neither one of them is really used anymore. I believe that patio is going to be used for the bar and restaurant. And you can see, if you're familiar with Hersheypark, they moved the old carousel from Founders Circle down here right by the entrance. Don't love that building though. That building, it's kind of, it doesn't fit in with the rest of Chocolate Town. Now here's Candemonium, the new B&M hypercoaster, the tallest and fastest ride at Hersheypark. And it's pretty good. Really cool visuals on this ride. I was actually kind of surprised. It was if you ride it towards the front of the train, you get a lot more airtime than if you ride it in the back of the train. So I would definitely recommend riding in the front of the train. Also, it's got this wonderfully gigantic station and fits the area really well. You can see here too, they're not quite done with the landscaping of Chocolate Town. As I zoom in, and the sign looks great. There are multiple signs. The sign on the building lights up at night. The trains are themed to different types of candies. So there's a Twizzlers train, a Kisses train, and a Reese's train. And there you can see some of that landscaping. It's not done yet, so it's kind of a work in progress. And there was still like construction equipment over there by that gray building, still working on land leveling and stuff like that. So it is kind of a work in progress. And the restaurant and bar and food parts of this over in the big main building with the gift shop, those won't be opening until 2021. Now, moving along here on through the newer Chocolate Town area, you can tell it's much bigger and wider than the old entrance. And new for this year is Starbucks. Now, Starbucks is open. I'm not really a big coffee guy, so I didn't go into the Starbucks. One thing I did pop in there to see if they had like the You Were Here kind of cups like they have at Walt Disney World for Hersheypark. Unfortunately, they do not. But very important for guests that want to come in and get their coffee at Starbucks in the morning. Not a me thing, but very important to a lot of people. All right, over here on the left, you have Hersheypark Collections, which is a large gift shop. So there's like two big mega gift shops now at Hersheypark, between Hersheypark Collections and the one at the exit. And I didn't really buy anything in Hersheypark Collections. You do have some roller coaster stuff in there. That is where you'll find all the Candemonium merchandise at this moment. So if you want some Candemonium stuff, it'll be all in there. And right past Hersheypark Collections on the left, that'll be Hyperdeck, which is a virtual reality experience. You can see how wonderfully the designed roller coaster just goes through the... Kind of that's the end of the roller coaster there as it takes you back to the station. But still, I really like how that's designed in the land. Gives it some good kinetic vibes. Now, Hyperduck is an upcharge attraction, so it has a surprisingly large amount of upcharge attraction. It costs $15 to play this immersive VR experience. I personally didn't do it. I've done my fair share of VR stuff. I enjoy it, but I don't know if I $15 enjoy it. And I will say it does look cool. Like, you're on a motion platform, and there's wind effects and heat effects, and it did look really neat. But it just, I don't know, that $15 price tag, I couldn't pull the trigger on it. But if you're looking for something different at Hersheypark, there is that option for you. And here you can see in the background that big yellow roller coaster. That's my favorite ride at Hersheypark. That's Skyrush. We'll get more on that later, but you get some good shots of it here. Now over here, what I'm walking towards is first there's this Plinko Game. And this is weird because when I filmed it there, it's the only time I passed that game. There wasn't a big long line of people waiting to play it. All right, now back to HP Go. These kiosks here is where you can print off a wristband. It's completely free, and this wristband can do a lot of different things. There it is. I'm showing it off. For free, it tracks your scores on the Reese's Cup Fusion ride and on the Whitecap Racer water slide, and you could also link things like your dining plan and your fast track to your wristband there. So that's a pretty neat technology, and it's very similar to like a Magic Band at Walt Disney World. It does some similar kind of stuff to that. You can link it up with your app, and I really liked it from from like a returning guest standpoint, it'll track your score every time you ride like Reese's Cup Fusion, because you open your app and be like, okay, these were all my scores from every time I rode. I'm like, that's really neat. The kettle corn there, I wish this was smell-o-vision because that smelled amazing. And something I really like over here on the right side is Hershey's got a not a candy store, that's a Christmas store. But first, I'm going to pan over here to show you about a bit of Hersheypark history, and that is the old Skyride station. Much like, for some reason when parks get rid of their Skyride, they like to leave the stations up for a while. We saw that at Walt Disney World or Six Flags New England. Over here's the Christmas store. Lots of great Christmas ornaments in there, including ones themed to the rides and characters of Hersheypark. So that was pretty tempting, but some of them were like $20. You do have some food over here on your left, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, Pepsi Fast Fill Station. They do have a ton. If you buy the souvenir drink cup, which is like $17, and then you want to refill it, there are tons of drink refill stations with no waits all around the park. At this point, we're leaving Chocolate Town, and we're entering into what's called Founder's Circle. And you can see this wonderful statue here, fountain of Milton S. Hershey, obviously the founder of the Hershey Company and likewise Hersheypark. And there's also the Kisses Boutique, complete with a big, giant display shaped like a Hershey Kiss. You will find no shortage of wonderful merchandise here at Hersheypark. Now back to Founder's Circle. This, I would say Founder's Circle, like the fountain and the statue looks great, but the actual area of the park, I feel like it feels a little dated. You've got nothing but really old rides, like all the rides in Founder's Circle in that section, they're kind of from like probably the 70s and the 80s. Some of them don't look bad, like this balloons, like they must have done a recanvassing on some of those balloons, and they look really good, done up as different chocolate bars. Obviously, you got the Hershey bar, the Kisses, the Reese's, the Twizzlers, and then over there you got the Star Jets, or whatever they're called, pretty much a Dumbo-style ride. It's interesting, those rides were supposed to be removed back in like 2005, and a roller coaster called Turbulence was supposed to be added, but they got in a fight with the manufacturer and the ride never ended up happening. Turbulence was going to be very similar to what like the SNS 40 free spins came to be, like an early version of that. Now this big canopy here, that used to be home to the carousel before they moved it into the new Chocolate Town region. And it just kind of, I don't know, man, it's weird. You just have that big empty tent with some like tacky looking giant crane games in there and some picnic stuff. Like I imagine something going into that canopy or replacing that canopy has to be on Hershey's hit list for additions here. You do have a mini Himalaya. Now this is a pretty good section if you got little ones or mostly kids rides and family rides here in Founder's Circle. And a great shot of Skyrush. One of my favorite roller coasters, really is. That thing is just fantastic. Really intense, one of the most extreme intense roller coasters you will find anywhere. What is not intense is all the rides in Founder's Circle. On the right, you've got a Tilt-A-Whirl. And I mean, it does work well. I just feel like, it feels older. Like a lot of Hersheypark feels like modern and super nice. This feels like you're in a carnival from the 70s. And I mean, there's definitely a place for rides like that. But, it is not the cheapest park to get into. And you do have some of these very old Hampton-style little kids rides, little kids cars, little kids helicopters, more Skyrush. I really like Skyrush. Now, also, I'm voicing this over instead of doing it live while I'm in the park because there's a lot of loud pop music that plays all over Hersheypark, and it was just easier to do it this way. And there is, you can see Skyrush going up their cable lift there. The lift is very fast. The opening year didn't slow down at the top, and it was a wilder ride. Now it slows down at the top. I mean, the ride is still just absolutely crazy, but it's not quite as wild as it was in that opening season. And that wooden coaster it towers over is the Comet. Now we're walking back through Founder's Circle, and yeah, I really hope they put something in that canopy tent or get rid of it. Like I would love to see them add like one of those 400-foot star flyers, like you see at some of the Six Flags parks. Or if you want to keep the canopy, there's a really, really cool flat ride at Tivoli Gardens. I think it might be TikTok or something like that. That's also under a canopy and uses lighting effects and lasers and stuff like that. I would like to see something like that at Hersheypark too. I think that would work really well. Moving along here, you get into more shops and dining and things like that. If you want to get your ride photos, it'll be over here on your left. And then over here on your right, check this out. These are good snacks. You could get lemonade with an entire lemon in the cup. Like that is some fun theme park food right there. Now, dead ahead of us is the 1906 grill, which I think just got refurbished either this year or the past year, and looking pretty good. You know, this is a building that's been at the park for the longest amount of time, but they've got new items this year. I'm going to go over here and talk about some of them. They've got fresh baked cookies. So you get like little small chocolate chip cookies, but you get them in like a collectible bucket, or you could get giant donuts. Like, these are top-notch snacks. But there's a lot of great snacks at Hershey Park. I didn't get them, and also like the minimum order of cookies was like 13, and that would have been a lot for 2 people to eat. And the 1906 grill does have other food as well, you know, your normal theme park fare. And one thing Hershey Park does a lot of is they'll outsource their food. So here you see Subway, and it'll be not the last Subway you'll see in the park either. They do bring in a lot of different companies. Also, there's a Dutch candy kitchen if you want to go get some fudge. And like I said, no shortage of snacks here. No shortage of snacks at all at Hershey Park. But over here, there's something, I think it's new for either this year or last year, and that is the 1906 bar. And I love the occasional adult beverage, and Trogue's Independent Brewery is right nearby. It's like a mile away from Hershey Park. Went there for dinner one night. It was amazing. That was a really good meal, good beer. Gonna go in here and show you about some of the beer selections. $9 for any of the beer in the cans, and then for $10 you can get an alcoholic slushie, and using Steel Reserved alcoholic slushies. And these things, as I'll show you right now, this was a strong slushie. It was 8% alcohol by volume, so you're definitely getting some bang for your buck for $10. And, you know, it's hot. It's summertime. Walking around with that nice frozen beverage, that's pretty cool. Also, it doesn't really look like booze. It looks like you just have like a frozen lemonade. And as we move along, there's going to be more snacks over here on the left. Check this out. Funnel cakes. Again, using the various Hershey brands, Hershey's, Reese's. Look at those funnel cakes. Another classic theme park food, but using that Hershey touch as well. Now, right in front of us is the second newest ride in the park, and this is Reese's Cup Fusion, which is a Sally shooting dark ride. And first of all, I love the characters. You've got the Cup Fusion star on the left, and the bad guy Mint the Merciless on the right. And this ride, I really liked it. It's like you're riding through a video game, lots of big screen elements, but there's also practical effects as well. It did have a pretty long line. It broke down a lot, but I gave this ride a big thumbs up. It was so much better than the old Reese's Extreme Cup Challenge. I love the interactivity with that wristband. You also get a free souvenir photo of yourself on it. And a big improvement. Also, really great character design in there. And the ride's got fantastic merchandise. Like, you get figurines of the characters made for the rides. And man, I just gave that I really enjoyed it. And especially like some of those rides, they don't age very well. This one with the screens, and the gameplay was really good. Over here, I think this is Music Box Way, this section of the park, which is, again, you got more kids' rides. I find it interesting at Hershey Park, where, like, if you go to a Cedar Fair or a Six Flags, you have your Snoopy Land, or you've got your Looney Tunes Land, and all the kids' rides are stuck in one area of the park. At Hershey Park, I think it's much smarter what they do, and it is spread out all over the park. So it'll be adult ride and 2 kids' rides, which I think makes it's really a lot smarter of a design. Now, that green shed over there, straight ahead, that is the Coco Cruiser, the park's kiddie coaster. If you're a coaster counting person like I am, you can ride that. And this big red roller coaster there, that is Storm Runner. Unfortunately, Storm Runner is not running for the 2020 season, as they are waiting on a part that they did not get. Here's the Geico sponsored Fender Bender. Great sponsor for your bumper car attraction. It does feel kind of like that Progressive Park ad that they ran for the Progressive Insurance Company a couple years back. Here's a game. There's plenty of Midway games at Hershey Park as well. And most of them are really cheap. Like, most of the Midway games are like $1 or $2, which is not the normal for parks. And I also like this. They don't tell you like how many inches you have to be. You go to the front of the park, you measure yourself up against the size character, and that size character is which rides you can and can't ride. So that's a really great, that's something that Hershey Park's been doing as long as I've been going there. That's been for, probably about almost 30 years now. I also like this. We're going back towards the Reese's Cup Fusion, and they've had these 2 kids rides in this area for the longest time, but they rethemed them to fit in with the Cup Fusion attraction. And also, going above here, you could see the Monorail, which is a really fun ride at Hershey Park. Takes you all throughout the park, takes you out of the park towards the chocolate factory, takes you through Zoo America. I love the Monorail. Also, not a lot of parks have monorails. And here you can see another kids ride. And again, just some more detail they put into this area of the park for the Cup Fusion attraction. Cup Fusion does get one of the longer lines in the park, so I would try to ride that early in the day. Like, if I had to rope drop a ride at Hersheypark, you get there at opening, I'd probably go right to Cup Fusion. And Simply Chocolate here, this is where you can get your crazy jumbo-sized shakes. Look at that. Again, themed to the rides of the park. A Candymonium shake, a Cup Fusion shake, a Mint the Merciless shake. And those, first of all, make sure if you're going to get one of those, have a couple people you want to share it with, because those are some big treats. They're delicious, but they're very big. All right, this building over here on the left is for the Skyview ride, which is the park's chairlift style ride. And unlike other parks, the chairlift or sky ride, it's not a transportation ride. You load and unload in the same spot. Again, I love the detail on the cars, so they're again themed to the various Hershey brands. But the ride, it's also a very, very slow skylift. It moves very, very slowly. Now, this building ahead of us, this is a hand-rolled pretzels. And you could get them in a bunch of different flavors or with a bunch of different toppings. And I was walking around, I was like, you know what? That might hit the spot. That'll go well with this frozen alcoholic beverage. And like a garlic parmesan pretzel. Yep, I bought one. It was $5. There you can see it was pretty tasty. Kind of tasted more like a breadstick than a pretzel, but it was still good. It was a nice snack. And Hershey does snacks very well. Very, very well. Time to continue on as stop to get another snack. And we're going to leave the Music Box Way section of the park and head down now into the Hollow. This right there ahead of us is I think it's caramel, like different flavors of popcorn as well as different flavors of lemonade. And here we're going down into the Hollow section of the park. Now, the Hollow used to be called Comet Hollow. It was changed its name to the Hollow back in, I think, 2012 when they built Skyrush. And that did change the look of this park. That roller coaster zooming by there. That is Great Bear, a big old B&M inverted roller coaster. Pretty fun time as well. This also takes you down by the park's river. A river runs through most of the park here at Hersheypark. And unfortunately, that river does flood as a Pennsylvania theme park problem. Is that river, we see that at Dornier, Knoebels, and Hershey as well, where if there's a bad rain, that river could flood and flood pretty badly. You do have a couple more things over here, a ring toss game, and then a couple of the newer flat rides. You got a kid swing ride and a kid's teacup ride. And we're going to go past over here by Great Bear. And you can see there where that sky ride goes, just goes right on the other side of the river, doesn't go very far. Love the classic station and entrance to the Comet. It's an old wooden roller coaster with a station that looks like it's built for an old wooden roller coaster. Also, had a pretty good line here. Hersheypark does a preview plan where you can get in the 2020 season, you can get in the last 2 hours of the park day. Like if you're going to the park on Friday, you bought your ticket for Friday. On Thursday, for the last 2 hours of the day, you can go to the park for free, included with that ticket. Over there on the left, that's skee ball. You can play skee ball for 50 cents. I've been going to the Hersheypark for a long time, as I mentioned, and that's always like a family tradition of mine. When you go to Hersheypark, you got to play some skee ball. Here you can see the Wave Swinger, another classic flat ride. Also, in a really cool spot, that one. Right by the river, a lot of trees, so a very pretty spot for the Wave Swinger. And Hershey overall, I think, is a pretty good-looking park. Like, even over here on the right, like their vending machines, even that section looks pretty good. And it's Hersheypark, built by the Hershey Company, so those vending machines, yep, they're chilled, and you could get Hershey's and Reese's and Kit Kats, all your favorite chocolate goodness. Now, after the vending machines, let's get to the real deal. The best ride in the park, in my opinion, and that is Skyrush. It is a very, very intense roller coaster with some of the craziest airtime you will ever find. I got on it 3 or 4 times during this trip, including 2 rides in the back row on the wing seat. And man, this is I've been on 679 different roller coasters, and this is in my top 5. That is how good this ride is. You can see some of the layout for Great Bear as well. A fun ride, not a top 5 ride like Skyrush is, but a fun ride and a very unique layout. One thing you'll find with Hersheypark, they've got a lot of roller coasters. I think they have 14 roller coasters. I know the park will tell you they have 15 roller coasters because they call one of their water slides a roller coaster, but that's a water slide. So the park has 14 roller coasters, not a ton of room. So like Skyrush is built over the Comet. which is right next to Great Bear, which is built over, the Super Duper Looper and the Log Flume. So you get some really, really interesting design stuff there. And again, Skyrush, just absolutely amazing. Some people, depending on your body type, might complain about the restraints being a little bit too tight. I don't have that problem, but it is just wild. More games, and then unfortunately a bummer. The Super Duper Looper has yet to open for the 2020 season. I believe they are waiting for a park and just hasn't opened yet. Hopefully it does, because it's a really fun ride. It's an ideal, for me, it's like an ideal kid's first looping roller coaster. It's a pretty gentle ride. It's a classic. It only takes people upside down once. So I always think that is an ideal. If you have a kid that's a little scared of loops, take them on that one first instead of something like, a Fahrenheit or a Great Bear that's going to turn you upside down a whole bunch of times. And here you can see more of Great Bear. That's the lift hill there for Super Duper Looper. Now, Hershey's come out and said for 2020, Storm Runner is going to be down all year. They did not say that for Super Duper Looper, so hopefully that does open back up. And here you can get a really nice shot of that creek that does run through most of Hersheypark. And it gives you some really nice pictures there too, with between the Sky Ride and the Drop Towers, Storm Runner. A lot of stuff goes over there and goes right by the creek. Also in different areas, there's a lot of ducks and gooses by the creek. And as a big animal guy, I like that. Here I am. I'm not sure why I'm paused this long. I'm probably waiting. Yep, I'm waiting for Great Bear to go. Very different layout than a lot of B&M inverted coasters. And I love that dip right there because they have arrows painted into the ground. So it makes you feel like you're going really, really fast. And there, Great Bear starts with a big helix before you get on the first drop. And just weird. You could also see the classic, that blue loop there. That is for the Super Duper Looper. A very classic, iconic loop. Then there's Great Bear. Now you can take that pathway there to head down the river, and that'll take you over towards the Pioneer Frontier area of the park. Or going up here takes you, I think, Boomtown or Minetown. I forget what this section of the park is up here by Great Bear. And there's just, look at how many supports there are right there. That is a crazy number of supports. Just wild. There you can see the loop. Hopefully that comes back soon. I do like Super Duper Looper. But they also have so many rides at Hersheypark. And when I was there, the park was not very busy at all. We didn't wait for much of anything. I don't think we made it more than 15 to 20 minutes for anything in the park. So we were there on a really good crowd day. If you're curious what day we were there, it was Friday. I think the 25th or something like that was the day we went. So Friday, July 25th. And more shots here of Super Duper Looper. Now, I am visiting the park during the 2020, the global health situation, and Hersheypark, it does an okay job with it. Some parks do a better job, some parks do a worse job. You can see that wonderful sprinkler over there because it does get hot at Hersheypark. I would say Hersheypark, they do make all the guests wear masks to enter the park. They do temperature checks, but they just don't really make people keep it up during the day. So there's no staff telling people to put their mask on. The rides were hit or miss when it came to the distancing measures. And the employees, not all of them were wearing their masks correctly as well. So that was always a bit discouraging. But, it's the kind of thing you got to do what's best for you and your family. You got to know kind of your situation as it relates to the health. Over here at the Overlook is one of the few places in the park to get draft beer. Also, a place I ate at 2 years ago and had one of the worst theme park meals of my entire life. Right there is the entrance to the Coal Cracker Log Flume. And it's a little hot, so I think I'm going to take a ride on the Coal Cracker. Yep, that's what we did. That's the reason for that cut. And then we'll pan back over here to the Overlook, which somebody told me they have loaded pierogies in there now. And that sounds amazing. It's also the only place, one of the few places in the park to get draft beer. Again, a good selection of draft beer because you see what I was drinking right there. They had Yingling and Founders and Trogs on draft, so that's pretty cool. Heading up the hill now. Hershey is a park with some hills, so if you're bringing somebody with a mobility issues or a wheelchair or something like that, just be prepared. There's some hills that could be rather tough. Now, dead ahead of us is one of my favorite snacks in the entire park. These are Tower fries, and you get a giant bucket of French fries for about $9.50. But they load these fries up. You could get, I think it's pulled. See, there you go. Big old bucket of fries, and you get 3 different options. And what I love with the fries, they layer them. So they'll put a layer of French fries, a layer of topping, then another layer of French fries, and another layer of topping. I did eat there. I ate the disco fries, which was French fries, gravy, and bacon. They also had pulled pork, and then chicken bacon ranch. So it's a good snack. It's a very shareable snack, and a very filling snack. This shed is where you would enter Great Bear, that big inverted roller coaster where you hang underneath. Pretty good ride. Running a little bit kind of shaky from side to side. You also, if you have healthier eaters, you might want to eat up here at the Gourmet Grill, as there's salads and wraps and a couple other things. So if you have somebody with, a little bit enjoys their lighter fare. All right, moving up here, this is I think it's maybe it's not Boomtown anymore. Maybe it's Kissing Tower Hill. I think Boomtown or Minetown was its old name, and that's its new name. There's also a stand that sells euros. A very, very different thing for a theme park to have. Also, Greek fries. That sounds interesting. Now, here in Kissing Tower Hill is obviously that's Great Bear, where you would load onto Great Bear. Got a front row ride on that one. You also have, if you look dead ahead of us where that sign says Speedway, that is the park's antique car kind of ride, and there's two different ones. So there's one where you ride in a more like race car type thing, and one where you ride in a more antique car type thing. They're both right next to each other, so you could go on one, go on both. Honestly, what I would do, I would walk up there, see whichever line is short, and then go on that one. And of course, with being Kissing Tower Hill, the star attraction would be the Kissing Tower, which is the park's big observation tower, complete with Hershey Kisses shaped windows. Gives you a really good view of the park. It's about 300 feet tall, somewhere in there. Unfortunately, it is not running right now, as that would be a difficult ride to do your distancing measures on. That cottage there sometimes has characters in it in some years. I don't believe they're using that in 2020 for characters. If you do want to see the Hersheypark characters, the front of the park in Chocolate Town has characters, and the Music Box Way Theater has characters. Moving along here. Also, a good sign here to talk about the Hersheypark app. They have, the rides and the map. They're not giving out maps this year, so might want to have that. They do have lamps that look just like they do in Chocolate Avenue in downtown Hershey. And also the app, you could get pictures on the app. You could get your scores on the app. It'll show you like other food and stuff like that on the app. So I would recommend downloading the app. Especially, it's not the easiest park to get around. Not the easiest one at all. But it is a park with great snacks. Great roller coasters, great snacks. Here's another winner here. For like $5, you can get a make-your-own whoopie pie, where you pick your shell and you pick your filling. And I did this. It was surprisingly really heavy. Like look at all those different types of shell: confetti, pumpkin, chocolate, and then fillings of chocolate, strawberry, creamsicle. You could pause it if you wanted to see them all. We did chocolate raspberry, which are two of my favorite flavors. It was delicious. Goblin Toss is another fun game you could play here. And again, you get like 7 throws for $2. Pretty solid value. I do like that you could win some of the Hershey characters too at some of the games. And then the biggest arcade in the park can be found right here. And then this is a very interesting thing, BBLZ. I have been to the park twice since BBLZ has been built, and neither time have I seen it operating. It is kind of like a craft cocktail bar serving nothing but non-alcoholic drinks. But I'm going to talk about the Hershey Triple Tower first, because there goes the Hershey Tower. Now, this was 3 rides. I think this was built in 2017 or 2018 of varying heights, and they're fun. But here's a look at those BBLZ creations. They're weird. Like, they mix Pepsi with I think ice cream and snacks. It's a very, very unique, very different looking thing. But for those Hershey Towers, it's actually really interesting because we went on the Hershey one. It was okay. You got a great view. But the Reese's one, the middle one, was way more intense. Like, the airtime on it was no joke. It scared Molly. It was so strong, the airtime. The elk over here, that statue, that's where you go to get into Zoo America. It's through that entryway over there. And this is the included with admission zoo over at Hersheypark. Nothing. It's not really a zoo to write home about, but a lot of older exhibits. Like, it feels pretty old, but it's nice to take that middle of the day break when you've been on tons of roller coasters and been spinning around. Take some time off, go and see the animals, because they do have some really cool animals. They've got a North American porcupine. They've got a couple of bears, prairie dogs, otters. So they do have some cool stuff. Also, I love the whimsical of the BBLZ stand, which is never open for me. And then if you go down that way, that is where you would get to the big theater that does the Marine Mammal show. So if you want to see a show with seals and sea lions, also if you're going in 2020, this is the only show currently running. Speaking of running and not running, there's unfortunately Storm Runner, which is not running for the season. But yeah, the towers, they look pretty cool. It's also a weird feeling, like if you go on the Hershey's tower, you're like looking down on the tower next to it. Just kind of bizarre. Now, when I was talking about those hills, here we are about to walk down one of them. And one of the quieter sections of the park here, once you get down near that river in the Pioneer Frontier section of the park, definitely one of the quieter areas. Now, I think Hershey's been doing a great job. I've been going, I went 2 years ago, and I went like 3 or 4 years before that. And this is a park that keeps adding and spending a whole bunch of money to get the park in really good shape for the guests. Obviously, this year, they added the massive $150 million Chocolate Town expansion. Last year, they did the Cup Fusion Dark Ride. The year before that, I think they did water slides. And then the year before that was the Triple Tower. So just like, that's a pretty good 4-year stretch for a park. Storm Runner here is the park's launch coaster. Not running, really good when it is, though. All right, and over here, that's where that Marine Mammal Theater is. And it's a decent show. If you've seen one seal or sea lion show, you probably could guess what you're going to see here. But if you want to, again, to take a break, or if you want to have, it's also a good idea if you want to like split the family up. If you have kids that want to do the high thrill coasters, and then maybe you have one that doesn't, might be a good time to split up the family for an hour or so, and send them on Great Bear, and they go see a show about seals. We're coming back now to the creek area, and I believe this is when I'm going to show off those geese and those ducks I was talking about earlier. You'd also have, there's a Trailblazer catering, which is a relaxation zone. And the relaxation areas are where you can go if you want to take your mask off for a while. And that's obviously during 2020 here. That's a sad thing to talk about. Happy thing to talk about, ducks and geese. Look at them. Look at that one diving upside down. Obviously, the people throw them the food. The ducks eat. The ducks get happy. You get happy because you fed the ducks. And that's how that works. And then some of the ducks hang out up here and try to catch the ones that, like, people drop or something like that. Animals are great. All right, as I get distracted by ducks, we're now in the Pioneer Frontier. I think when you cross over the bridge here, that puts you in the Pioneer Frontier section of the park. Home to one of the older roller coasters here, and that's Trailblazer, which is the park's old mine train style roller coaster. Really off on its own too. Like, this ride is close to really no other ride in the park. Also, you got some of the better lunch options, and it's also where you can find the train. It is a very slow-moving train. It does go past some kind of like, I wouldn't say they're show scenes, but decorations. And if you're curious how Hershey Park was laid out and the path we took to get to here, well, we entered over there by Chocolate Town. Then we went past Starbucks and Candemonium up to, I guess it's Founder's Way now, not Founder's Circle. And then we walked around a little bit of that music box area, through the Hollow, and up towards the Kissing Tower Hill. There, as you can see, where the zoo is. So you can see we're a little bit more than halfway through the park at this point, and we're in the Pioneer Frontier. Again, it's kind of a weird layout for Hershey Park. All right, they do have some good food over here, though. This is where they have their big barbecue area. This is the Smokehouse, where you can get lots of fun-looking things. It's also another bar. Kenny's favorite part of Hershey Park, I imagine, the Yuengling Pavilion. Obviously, they sell more than just Yuengling there, but they do sell other types of beer as well in that little patio section. But man, this barbecue, it's some good-looking barbecue. It smells great. Brisket, ribs, turkey legs. Also some weird-sounding desserts. It smells great over here. We didn't eat there. But the desserts, monkey bread or red velvet cheesecake brownie, like both those sound pretty tempting. You can see Trailblazer over here. Looks like Trailblazer might have gotten a fresh coat of paint as well. And this is where I'm talking about the smells. You just smell the goodness coming out of that Smokehouse area. I would say the park's in really good shape. I think they redid like every one of their wooden roller coaster trains this past off season. So Comet, Wildcat, Lightning Racer, they all look like they have brand new trains on them, or like all refurbished trains, so that they're in really good shape. And overall, the park looks wonderful. I was trying to think about like trying to guess what I would add to a theme park. And if I was like, the boss of Hersheypark, probably add in a couple more new kids rides, some modern kids rides. I would replace that canopy in Founder's Circle with something. And I'd probably call the guys over at RMC to RMC the Wildcat. Those would be the things off the top of my head. But also consider taking out Tidal Force and putting in some water slide towers there, because that water park they have is pretty small and gets very, very busy. And Tidal Force takes up a huge amount of room. Fun ride, I enjoy it, but takes up a huge amount of room. And there you can see Trailblazer going right past, and the sadness that is Stormrunner. Love that logo for Stormrunner too. Stormrunner takes you like 0 to 60 miles an hour, real fast, hydraulic launch roller coaster. And it's definitely, out of the 3 rides that were announced to be closed this year, this one for me is the biggest loss, as that is a wonderful, wonderful roller coaster. Short ride, but it's a good one. Hopefully it comes back next year. This roller coaster here is Sidewinder, which is your typical Vekoma boomerang. Although I believe it has newer restraints on it, so it won't like bang your head from side to side. And there's the saddest sign in the whole park. So Sidewinder won't bang your head from side to side. You'll just get the queasiness from going forwards and backwards through 6 different loops. And that's been there for a while too. I mean, Sidewinder's been there, I think early 90s was when they added it. So it's had a good run here at Hersheypark. And it doesn't take up a lot of room, so I probably can't see it really going anywhere. In this section of the Pioneer Frontier is what I meant to say, you get to a big outdoor food court area. And you have lots of different options. There you can see this top hat on Stormrunner. So over here on the left is Chicky and Pete's for cheese steaks and crab fries, and that wonderful top hat. So sad that it's not running. You have a Chicky and Pete's for cheese steaks and crab fries. You've also got to the right of Chicky and Pete's is going to be Moe's, like welcome to Moe's, that kind of thing. And obviously you got the Sidewinder here. You also have a couple of these fancy clocks at Hersheypark. I'm guessing there's probably a story about these fancy clocks. I don't know what it is. If you know the story behind these fancy clocks, let me know in the comment section below. Maybe it's just like an advertisement. Oh yeah, it's an advertisement for something in Lancaster. So that makes sense. Don't let me know in the comment section below anymore. And there's Sidewinder. Sidewinder with Stormrunner not running, not a very popular ride this year. So that probably, I imagine, has pretty limited weights. Now we're going to walk through this food court area. Pretty good food options in here. And there is, I think, like 4 or 5 different restaurants in this area. So if you have some picky eaters, it might be an easy place to go to and say, Jimmy, you go here, I'll go here, and we all meet up at the table. And if you want dessert, they have some desserts. Dipped cheesecake or dipped cookie dough. This was not open. Again, it does fit into the Cup Fusion thing as well. But man, that's, again, good snacks. Hersheypark, good snacks. Hope you're not watching this when you're hungry, because you probably want to go and eat some terrible chocolate creation for your body that's delicious. Now, this next booth over here, I like that Hersheypark has this. I think it's very important to do things like this in a theme park that does 3 million guests a year, and that is an allergy-friendly area. So if you have different allergies, if you have some people with dietary conditions, you could go over there and probably find something for them. And then also, there's plenty of other stuff here, so you could get yourself a gourmet grilled cheese or a hand-rolled pretzel while they get something to fit their dietary needs. Speaking of gourmet grilled cheese, this is somewhere I wanted to eat lunch. We didn't end up making it over here, but this looks like a good place to eat lunch because they have gourmet grilled cheese. I love grilled cheese anyway. Big fan of things like melted Cedar Point. But look at that. Bacon barbecue, buffalo chicken, chicken bacon ranch, turkey bacon, gourmet grilled cheese. And they also have the big kettle chips. And there's a Subway. So if you want something that you're going to like. And you can see the big kettle chips there. I believe they'll load them up with like chili and cheese if you pay extra for it. So lots of good options in that food court area. The only thing I like eating outside at a theme park, not the biggest fan of that. And Hershey, outside of the Overlook, I don't think they have, like the Overlook and the other one by the Overlook is one of the few indoor places to eat. You can see a wonderful old-timey little kids carousel there with an adorable little horse. And then right next to it, another adorable kids ride is a mini scrambler. This looks like an antique. Like, look at this thing. It's so wacky looking. That's cool. I don't see this one at a lot of parks. That is for sure. moving along here, we're going to pass the, I'm not even sure what they call the flying scooters at this park. The Frontier Flyers. And these are really fun flat rides. Normally not too dizzying. You control how much you go up or down, that kind of thing. All right, we're going to cross over this little bridge here. That bridge is because the train runs underneath it. The train we saw earlier going at extremely, extremely slow speeds. Now we're going to go to the left for just a moment to show off a couple more spinning rides in this music box area of the park. So now we've gone out of the Pioneer Frontier again and back into that music box way. Let's see, you've got over here on the right is the Claw, a great spinning flat ride. Left is a t-shirt store that's not open. And again, you get a lot of Midway games in this area as well. Let's see, fine jewelry. That's kind of a weird thing. I guess as a 35-year-old man, I would not be buying fine jewelry at a theme park, but there's probably people that do. Over here, this is where you can enter that really, really, really slow-moving train ride. And the train ride's okay. I prefer, if you have to go on like one scenic ride at the park, I would say definitely go on the Monorail or the Kissing Tower over like the train or the Skyride. You got a big pirate swinging ship here. And then right in front of the pirate swinging ship, this building here, that is, I believe it's the Music Box Way Theater, which is the park's main indoor show venue, which is not running here in 2020, but normally they do musical performances in there. And so there'll be like one for summer, and they'll do a different one, I believe, during Christmas time. And look at the size of this crane machine. And this is neat. You could win a half pineapple, half duck. That's an innovative prize if I've ever seen it. I will say also, look at the side for the pirate ride. The pirate's treasure, it's Hershey Kisses. And he's very happy about it, because who wouldn't be happy if they had a giant treasure chest full of Hershey Kisses? All right, another look at Storm Runner, and then here's the Music Box Way, that theater. Not being used this year, unfortunately, but you know it'll probably come back next year. Who knows? Maybe it'll come back by December for Holiday in the Park or whatever they call it there. But right now, it's where you can meet the characters, and the characters are so cool. Look at Mr. Kit Kat. He's so happy. I do like that. That's cool. Overhead is that monorail track again, and here you can see Chick-fil-A, which is another dining establishment at the park. As you can see, they do farm out a lot of their stuff here at Hershey Park. Chick-fil-A, no exception to that rule. Now, as we head towards the back section of the park, you're gonna have more Midway games over here. And the first Midway game, that Dips Ahoy, that's one you don't see a lot. It's where you have to like roll the bowling ball and trying to get it like in between the things. And that's just a non-Midway game you see very much at all. And I liked it because look at the prize. You could win a little plush corgi. That's pretty cool. Corgis are one of my favorite dogs. Hersheypark also sells a really good value pass for your games, where you could buy like a value pass for $19 that allows you to play 13 different Midway games. And here's the Claw, one of those spinning inverted pendulum rides. These I find to be a lot of fun. And you can see the Frontier Flyers going over there. But the Claw would be one of my favorite flat rides at Hersheypark. I'd say the Claw, the Kissing Tower, and that Reese's Shot Tower. Guys, I know you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but go on the Reese's Tower. Don't go on the bigger, taller Hershey Tower. Dead ahead in that bubble is going to be the arcade, and I believe at one point during its life, that Playdome arcade was like a 360 movie. Like it was a big deal at amusement parks back in the 80s, and I believe that's probably what that building was originally. And it's been an arcade for probably 20 to 25 years now. Now, one thing I hope that you would never have to visit during your visit to Hershey Park is going to be over here on the left of the Playdome arcade, and that's going to be the Lost Kids area. So obviously, if parents and kids get separated, that is where they go to meet up. It's right near the middle of the park, right next to the arcade. Hopefully, you'll never need to use that information, but if you do, it's there for you. Also, if you're only going to play in one arcade at Hershey Park, I would say probably play at the one over in Kissing Tower Hill. it's a little bit bigger and better than the Play Dome Arcade. As we move back towards the water park and a couple more roller coasters, you get more fun food, which is as you can sell a big theme at Hersheypark. Now this one, I love anything that's themed to roller coasters, and here you've got Coaster Dogs. The Great Bear hot dog with chili cheese and bacon, the Wild Melt with cheese sauce, shredded cheddar and bacon bits, and one themed to Fahrenheit. Oh man, I do like that. That you can sucker me in to buy something I wouldn't want because you throw a roller coaster name on it. Also, guys, this is top-notch prizes. Llama take a selfie at Hersheypark. You could win that pillow. Hersheypark, you say? I'll pack up my bags. I tried to play this game. I lost. I won like a consolation prize. I didn't win a sweet alpaca pillow. A little bit of a bummer. More Midway Games over here. Again, you can see that being a theme. Over here, you could see Fahrenheit, which is a roller coaster built, I think, in the late 2000s. And vertical, you go straight up the lift hill, and then you go through a whole bunch of loops. Over here on the right is the Pioneer Souvenirs, which sells all merchandise relating to the Hershey Bears hockey team, which plays in the Giant Center, which shares a parking lot with Hersheypark. So if you were coming to the park in the fall or the winter and you wanted to do something a little bit different, well, you could go to a minor league hockey game to see the Hershey Bears. There is other stuff to do around town. I'm not going to talk about chocolate. Like this video, I'm not going to Hershey's Chocolate Town, which is obviously their big visitor center, which has the free ride to go see how chocolate gets made, filled with animatronics, a wonderful, wonderful dark ride. That's also where they have a 3D movie, the giant gift shop, lots of good food. Here's another spinning ride. This is probably too much spinning for me. But yeah, Chocolate Town is also where you board the Hershey Trolley Works, which takes you all around town. And that's really fun. If you've never done the Trolley Works, I recommend that. It shows you all around Hershey, but they also have like one or two different hosts on there that do kind of a comedy routine, and they'll bring you like chocolates and meats and at various points throughout the voyage, and they'll dress up in costumes. It's a really fun time. You got another Plinko game over here, and then a long line to get hot dogs and a beer cart. That beer cart over there also has draft beer. And to enter Fahrenheit, you would enter Fahrenheit right there, and you could see that big vertical drop and the big vertical lift, and then the 97-degree first drop. For some reason, it took me forever to find out in my brain, like, why did they call this Fahrenheit, the unit of measurement of temperatures? Like, oh, because it was 97-degree drop and falling fast. And like, oh, that's still a weird name for a ride. It's, you know, like, hey, come ride our new water slide, Ounces. It's just, Fahrenheit's kind of a weird name for me. Did get one ride, row in the front row, and it was awesome. Super duper smooth. Really smooth. It has the soft straps on there now, so you have no headbanging to worry about. And it's a pretty ride. Again, it's another one that looks like it probably got repainted in the past couple of years because the colors look really, really great. Also, here in the States, you don't really get a lot of Intamin big loopers like that. You know, like Maverick goes upside down a couple of times at Cedar Point, but not nearly to the number of this. Also, I don't know what happened here, but I love that they took out the Red Baron ride, but left the sign and the attraction sign. Don't worry, this attraction is temporarily closed. I'm kind of surprised that that's going on there. All right, over here on the right is going to be the entrance to the boardwalk at Hersheypark. This is their included with admission water park. It is a nice water park, but it's pretty small and very, very crowded. So if you're going in there, just be prepared to wait in some long lines for some short slides. They do have a couple different things, like there's an uphill, downhill roller coaster style water slide called I don't even remember what they called that, but that looks awesome. But again, yeah, like, the last time I was there, that had over an hour wait. And there's a great kids splash area if you want to go just go and cool off. But there you can see it. I believe that element on Fahrenheit is a Norwegian loop. One of the few rides to have that element. And again, one of those fancy clocks. I'm not the biggest water park guy, so if I'm going to Hersheypark, I would probably skip going to the boardwalk. It's also like way in the back of the park, so you gotta dredge all your stuff back there and get a locker, and it's a whole ordeal to wait in any long lines for rides. Unfortunately, closed during our visit. Over here on the right is Tidal Force, which is technically part of the water park. You go there and you go in the boat. Take a long, slow climb up. The boat turns around and then goes down the drop and causes a big, giant tidal wave. It's one of the larger types of these shoot-the-chutes rides. And it has a pretty cool entrance. Like, you enter through this big lighthouse building. I have to wonder, like, we were there during peak summer, and this ride was not running. So I have to wonder if it's on the outs. More fun things over here. Again, cheap games at Hersheypark. You win 4 frogs. You launch 4 frogs for $2. But yeah, like, this ride not operating on a very hot summer day, like, I wonder if this one's on its way out. Because, I mean, you could take that out, you could replace it with tons and tons of water slides in that. Like, you could put 2 or 3 slide towers there easily and really, really increase the number of capacity in that water park. There's Sidewinder getting ready to go backwards. That's a pretty nauseating ride. I actually skipped it on this trip. That's just not. I've been on so many of those boomerang coasters that they're pretty dizzying to me. All right, moving along. We're in the back of the park now. This is a section of the park called Midway America, kind of done up as a throwback to the the parks of like the 1920s and things like that. So you get some throwback rides back here. You also get at least the second subway of the park. Big food court, also another beer booth. And they sell beer prices around the park, about $9 for a beer. You could get, some of the cans are bigger than others. Like, I got a Founders All Day IPA, which was like 19 ounces. It's a pretty good size IPA. Not one of the strongest ABVs by volume. Here's a very nice photo op too. I imagine it would be a cool place for characters. I don't think they put characters over there. And we haven't talked about snacks in a while, so why don't we go back to snacks? And they have mini donuts. Another wonderful, wonderful theme park snack. You get a bucket of mini donuts. I will say, like, a lot of the things here, like, look at the flavor of the month. It's Jolly Ranchers. Like, that is some innovative stuff there. Again, talking a little about Hersheypark, I've been going for a while. And one thing I would love to see Hersheypark do is to add a seasonal, like, food and wine event. We've seen the one do crazy numbers at Walt Disney World. A bunch of the Cedar Fair parks tried them. The Boysenberry Festival at Knott's Berry Farm is a tremendous moneymaker. And I imagine you could do, with that lineup of products that Hershey has, you could do lots of wonderfully creative food. I think it would just kill in the market and make if you could do that like in the spring, because I know they do springtime in the park, but there's nothing really to springtime in the park. Add like a food and wine festival. Let your chefs get creative like they do at Knott's Berry Farm and their one for boysenberries. Like, man, that could be a huge money event. That station up there is for Wildcat, one of the park's wooden roller coasters. Also, you get some plants, like fake plywood plants. Wildcat's it's an okay ride. It's I think it was like a 96 GCI roller coaster. It does run Millennium Flyer trains now, but it was running pretty smooth on my visit. But the ride doesn't do a whole lot. It's just a twister layout that does a lot of twisting, not a lot of airtime and things like that. Not one of my favorite rides in the park. Like, if you had to skip a ride, that would probably be one I would consider skipping. But also, like, if you hit this section of the park here in like the last hour of the day, you're probably not going to find lines for anything because it's so far in the back of the park. That is the boarding area for the Wild Mouse roller coaster. Another small throwback style roller coaster. Love the sign. Like, that is wonderful theme park cheesiness there on that sign. And those rides, they're a good time. You ride in the little 4-person cars. All right, so over here well, first there's going to be more water slides. Again, you see long lines for the water slides. Pretty common. Fun slide tower, but long lines. Now, this big white building over here on the left is Laugh Track, which is an indoor, in-the-dark spinning roller coaster. And first of all, Hershey, your park's in pretty good shape. You need to redo these pictures that have been terribly damaged by the sun. That looks horrible. Just horrible. Like, you could do better than that. But Laugh Track, I actually really like it. It's fun. It's themed on the inside to, like, old Funhouse gags from, like, the early 1900s. So there's, like, Laughing Sal and all sorts of, like, old theme park tropes from that era of, like, Boardwalk Park. It's really fun. You spin around depending on how your weight is set up. You might spin a lot, you might not spin a lot, but I just love that theming. Obviously I'm not 100 years old, so that's an era of theme parks that I never got to experience. But I like when parks have like essentially tributing a whole ride to fun houses of that era. You could also tell that once you get to the back of the park here, things are a little bit more spread out. Big pathways, not a ton of people. And it's where you would find the park's big Ferris wheel, all the way in the back of the park. Also, there's Bob's Fishing Hole. Now we're getting towards the end of the video. I do want to stress that if you have any questions or comments about Hersheypark, I have been going for a very, very long time. I was just there this past week. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section below. I'll do my best to get back to you. And again, more throwback rides over here on the left. It's a whip ride, which is another classic ride. Wonderful flat ride. Also in a pretty cool building as well. I believe they built that as a tribute to a whip they had at Hersheypark a long, long time ago. There you can see the Ferris wheel. Not the biggest or craziest Ferris wheel, but it does have the park's logo on it, so that's always a nice touch. I don't know why that's a terribly tacky looking game booth for Hersheypark. You get rid of that too. Over here is a Music Express. It's interesting to see a Music Express type ride without like the things on the side and the back. Like to have it just exposed like that. And again, with this being Hersheypark, right next to a couple of adult rides, you've got a random little kid ride with this cute little train. And then there is Lightning Racer. I would say nothing says roller coaster built in the year 2000 or so like that logo for Lightning Racer. Lightning Racer is great. It's a smooth ride. It's a twin track racing dueling wood coaster. I love that one quite a bit. And that'll do it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this full park walkthrough of Hersheypark. I have been talking for an hour, so I really, really need to go get a glass of water. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you all next time. Love me some Hersheypark.